Evening all, welcome to Kicking Dust. Still got a bit of a cold, so if I sound a bit like a croaking frog, then I do apologise. I don't know, something knocked me absolutely sideways this week. And fun fact: don't mix cold and flu medicine with hard liquor. It gets very messy when you go to the bathroom. Anyway, so let's talk dust. Not done one of these for a while, so I think there's quite a few things to talk about. Firstly, we're going to talk about the gun changes, but before I do that, again, in the background, or rather in the visuals, let's say, this is me learning to fly a dropship. Don't take the piss, please. I'm very delicate when it comes to vehicles because I've never really used them. I did have an alt that used them, but the reality was I never actually used vehicles that much. So I've got my little training wheels on my dropship here, so don't take the mick too much. Oops. So anyway, what we'll talk about today is certainly the gun changes. I don't know if you've seen these yet. What I would recommend, while I switch my phone silent, is go and check out the forum because there's some really good stuff on gun changes currently going on, and I think it's worth people looking at them. Certainly because the first thing to bear in mind is that we now have stats for the other guns, rail rifles, or rather the not so submachine gun or whatever they call it, and so on. So I think it's probably worth going and checking out what these changes are going to be. Certainly for the kind of assault rifle guns, they're going to be quite interesting. I think there's going to be a real focus on really learning the type of assault rifle that's going to be your kind of pick of the day. So currently we have the Galactic Blaster assault rifle in the game, and we have the Amar Scrambler rifle in the game. Those are the two that are currently known quantities. The Mimitar, I guess, is it machine gun they call it, and the Caldari rail rifle are the two that are looking to now jostle for your position. So the rail rifle is a kind of relatively high repeating rifle. I think they said the spool up time, or rather the rate of fire, is like 0.2 seconds per shot. I must have read that wrong because that doesn't sound like a rail rifle. That sounds like a nightmare. And it's got a little scope on it. Little scope. It's lovely. So it's going to be pretty cool to see these rifles coming in. The more variety of weaponry you have, the more varied the game becomes, the more specialised in one gun or another people are. I hate the proliferation of AR currently. I mean, even I do it because it's such a good gun. The time to kill, or the TTK, yeah, look at me pretending to be pro, is very high. So I think people do favour it, but I think it'd be lovely to see some other guns in the field. Now, just in the visuals, I'm actually changing this thing because I realise I'm actually doing nothing in it, so I'm going to recall it and run around with my shotgun for a bit, so enjoy that. So other things to kind of bring to you is the fact that AV is about to be nerfed. Yay! So this is actually a big deal for me. I am so over the moon that literally I should be a cow, because I just think that there is... Let me explain. I love AV. I've always enjoyed killing vehicles. That moment when you see a tank crest the horizon and you think, geez, I'm right close to that, and then you run at him and he's shooting you and you're dodging left and right and you're doing your kind of best dance around, and then you kill him. You throw an AV and it just arcs down majestically in slow motion onto the hull, and then boom, dead gone. That is satisfying in almost a sexual way. But the problem is that it's a little bit easy now. I think when you certainly start to get the prototype AV stuff coming, it's like, well, yeah, it's a little bit too easy. So AV is going to be hit. And currently the only AV I'm talking about is anti-vehicle grenades and swarm launchers. And I think both of them pretty much are going to get a reduction in damage of around 25%, which is quite a lot when you actually sort of critically analyze that. So 25% of your damage in these things is going to be reduced, and I think it makes it a bit better. Also, there's some pretty interesting nerfs to swarm launchers. Swarm launchers to me are the laziest gun in the game. They're good, don't get me wrong, but they're also a lazy gun, because all you need to do is kind of lock on fire and then walk around and finish your cup of tea. And I don't like that. I think the forge gun will make you work for your kill. The AV grenade will also do the same, whereas I think the swarm launcher will kind of just sort of say, I got this, bro, and off he goes running away with all his hombres as he then takes a dropship down. And I think this is something that I don't like. I think the Swarm Launcher does need a bit of a change. And the changes that they've proposed is, firstly, you're going to get less damage per missile. I think you get less missiles as well. So instead of 6, I think it's 4. Again, I could be wrong. Please post in the comments if I got that wrong. But most importantly, the lock-on range is reduced from 400 to 175 meters. That's brilliant. I think that's an absolutely brilliant thing, because at the moment, dropships are just too vulnerable to this very basic piece of equipment, which, you know, at militia level, yeah, it's not too much of a threat, but I just think there should always be a bit more of a kind of I think drive to force people to use vehicles. And I think when you pretty much make it so that a veteran player can kill any vehicle in the game with a fit that they can just run and get, boom, run them back and gone, then there's no real incentive to use vehicles. And let's face it, vehicles are everything in these kind of games. It's not just an infantry game. I spoke about the 3 dimensions of the game before, and I think Dust has nailed the first dimension of infantry, in my opinion. And I think it's the second and third of tank and, you know, ground combat and aerial combat that I think needs a bit of love now. So here we go, prime example. I mean, I'm in a pretty shit-fit gun logi. Again, don't laugh. I'm learning these things. I think if you come to this channel looking for eliteness, pro PvP, elite whatever, you're going to be sadly, you're going to be sorry, because it's not me. I have no effing clue what I'm doing. It's only good that I have such cool people in the corp to actually go to, like Evo, and, you know, even people who are just sort of, you know, playing with us, who know this stuff, who help me out. So, you know, I am the special needs tank driver as well. So and I think, yeah, I probably shouldn't have 2 hardeners on it. I know, but at the end of the day, I'm learning. So I think as it stands, there's going to be some really cool changes coming. They've let us know very early as well. So again, don't expect these things to maybe even be in before 1.7. But I think if anything, it gives you hope that the future of the game is being analysed very well. They're really looking to try and build it, you know, better than perhaps we have had before. I think there's certainly some great comms, and yeah, CCP are doing a good job. I think, you know, honestly do believe that. And no, I'm not being paid to say that. I think there's certainly an interesting kind of future with this game, certainly when you start to get these other guns in, because let's think about it. You could have sort of like mini snipers. So if you play Battlefield 4, the first tier of sniper is, or recon rather, is a kind of mid-range or low to mid-range sniper, really, isn't it? It's not necessarily a long-range sniper. So I think that's quite a nice thing, that this rail rifle could become a kind of, you know, almost single-fire, single-shot thing. Just before I do that, anybody who kind of gets pissy at me for getting caught in my tracks, I will make sure they get caught in my tracks. So I just thought I'd do that. Anyway, troll. I think there's certainly something quite cool also about the machine gun as well from the Mimitar. I do like the idea of getting quite a high rate of fire, you know, kind of lead in the air, sort of sort out a problem gun. So I don't know, I'm really quite impressed actually with these changes that are coming. If you haven't seen it, go and check out the forum. It's in the general discussion forum of Dust 514, and I think you're just looking there for gun changes or something in the stickies, and I think you'll probably be quite impressed. Didn't do a great deal of number crunching because A, I'm not going to, and B, that's sad. Oh, well, it's not, it's cool, but let's face it, I'm not going to do it. But from what I could tell, it provided ranges, then optimal range, rate of fire, stuff like that. So I'm sure somebody has sat there and post in the comments if you have, and you've worked out what is the best gun, what's the OP gun going to be, because of rate of fire, you know, distance, all that. And I think I did see one which was like a scrambler rifle that could do something like 50 damage per shot over something ridiculous like, you know, 200 meters or something daft. So I think that's going to become, you know, the spreadsheet wonder of the world is that EVE Online is a stats-based game. So, you know, go knock yourself out. Tell us what gun you think's the best and what and why. So anyway, here we go. I think as we got to the end of this match, it was a very leisurely match. I think it was the start of I think I must have played probably, I don't know, maybe about 10 matches last night, and they were all really good. We didn't have a bad match last night at all. And I think, to be honest with you, this probably shows that a lot of people are coming back to the game. Saw a lot more familiar faces than certainly I remember before. And I just, I think at this point, I think a lot of people maybe have had enough of GTA. They've maybe, Battlefield 4 is not out till Monday. That's going to be an interesting thing to see, because I think if you play Battlefield 4, sorry, Dust, you're probably going to like Battlefield 4 as well. So, we'll see how that develops. I'm actually going to play it as well, but don't worry, Dust is still my passion and not going anywhere. So there we go, we won. This was a funny one for me because I remember doing this completely drunk off my head, coughing and sneezing, so it wasn't a particularly good one. But there we go, 7 and 4. Oh, not great. But I think this is always the funny thing of these games, is sometimes you just, you don't necessarily score a good round, but you just still feel that you've had a good match, if that makes sense. So there we go. We'll do some more of these things. I think, certainly we've got some dropship stuff coming up, ones where I actually do something. And I think we've also got some Arse labs coming as well. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.